Hello everybody, Jay Glazer bringing you another episode of Guidance by Glazer. We are up to episode 27, trying to bring you local content and market knowledge to empower you in your New York City buying and selling experience. We are having some technical difficulties today, so we're going to go a little old school and shoot this bad boy the conventional way. Just drop some knowledge bombs on you and hopefully you'll chime in and you won't miss our beautiful TV background and you'll just enjoy my pretty face. Today's topic is the top 5 reasons why hiring a local expert makes the most sense. Now, of course, it seems logical that you would hire the local expert, right? Everybody is theoretically a local expert, but in reality, that is not actually the case. There are a lot of agents in New York City. In fact, I believe somewhere around 29,000 agents operating a business here in New York City. That is the 5 boroughs. I bet some of you out there can't name the 5 boroughs, which is scary. But the reality is that is how many agents we have in the marketplace. So if you do hire someone from, say, an out of area market. So if you're hiring someone from, say, Flushing, Queens to sell your condo in Battery Park, that is not a local expert. So just wanted to make that clear before getting into these 5 reasons. So the first reason why hiring a local expert makes the most sense is because, as I've discussed many times before, New York City is made up of over 200 micro markets, and an agent simply does not have the capacity to understand the nuances of all of them. Now, an agent, meaning everybody but me, I of course do. Just kidding, I don't, but I do. Have the capacity to understand 200 micro markets, but the reality is most agents focus on a specific area because there's so much data to gather. New York City is a huge marketplace and has so many different apartment types and so many different locations with so many different nuances of value, of verticality, meaning, you know, what the views are like, of amenities, if there's a doorman, non-doorman, co-ops, condos. As I've discussed on many episodes before, there's so many differentiating factors, and the reality is an agent not operating a very specific marketplace just does not have the knowledge you need as an owner or buyer to buy a home or sell a home in that specific market. So for example, I myself am a born and raised native New Yorker, and I grew up in Greenwich Village, and we sell a ton of properties in Greenwich Village. That is an area in which I know a tremendous amount. Now, if you said, Jay, I want to buy an apartment in Hamilton Heights or Washington Heights, I can become an expert because of my local knowledge as a New York City native. That being said, if someone says I want the absolute most knowledgeable agent for that marketplace, I'm going to be honest with them and I'm going to say that's not me. Now, I can provide a tremendous amount of service for that area, but I am not the local expert. So that is why it's really important to hire the local expert, because there's so many different neighborhoods with so many different nuances. Second reason is buying an apartment in a building that has differentiating requirements is super important to the process, meaning you have to know those differentiating factors. So if it's a co-op, what the purchase requirements are. If you're an investor, what the sublease allowances are, right? So if you are in the local market and you're operating in all of these buildings in your specific locale, the reality is you're going to know these rules and you're going to be able to provide value to your client, because instead of having to completely re-educate yourself on the nuances of every single building, on the specifics of every single building in that local area, you already know it. You've done so much business, you're in that marketplace, and you really can bring value by saying, hey, you want to stay away from that building, or if you are a seller in one of these buildings, hey, you need to know that this building is received in X, Y, and Z ways in the marketplace, therefore we need to create a strategy of marketing and sales strategy to make sure we're differentiating ourselves and handling the objective that is the building you live in. So there's a lot of different local knowledge that we can bring you because we are operating in that specific subsection, only because not every home sold in New York City is the same. In fact, it's wildly different apartment to apartment. So that's the second reason why you need to hire the local expert. And the third reason is more about, are you living and operating in that neighborhood, right? Total immersion of the neighborhood. So for example, as I said, I am a Greenwich Village resident, native, born and raised, and currently reside in the area. I genuinely believe that there are very few people who can speak to the qualities of Greenwich Village, not just as in terms of the real estate, but in terms of the qualities of the neighborhood. Now, yes, everybody knows Greenwich Village universally is an amazing neighborhood. But what makes it amazing? Is it the schools? Is it the restaurants? Is it the shops? Is it the people? Is it the parks? I can specifically go down the list block to block and say this block is amazing because of X, Y, and Z. That block is less amazing because maybe the bus goes through it. We recently sold a home to a client who was so enthralled by the fact that we could break down every single block of Greenwich Village because we were looking at townhomes. And if you look at townhomes on 12th, 11th, 10th, 9th Street, say between 5th and 6th Avenues in Greenwich Village, each one of those blocks is special but has slightly different factors that bring value into play. So for us, being the neighborhood expert is also being the local expert, right? Being someone who can really bring energy to a conversation about a specific neighborhood ultimately brings value to the client and the ability to either represent a buyer and help them understand that neighborhood, or in a selling perspective, bring value to the neighborhood in sales because you can talk about what makes it so great. The fourth reason is the local expert is going to have extra knowledge about upcoming sales in the neighborhood and, even more importantly, sometimes off-market transactions, right? We ourselves are currently representing a off-market 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Reach out to us for details if you want on that. That's in Greenwich Village, and it's not hitting the marketplace because we were viewed as a local expert for both the building on Mercer Street and on the corner of Mercer and 8th Street, as well as the local experts for the neighborhood. So those owners felt we were really appropriately placed and positioned to sell that home. So if you are looking for a specific niche neighborhood to buy in, or you're looking not to necessarily list your home, but perhaps get some inquiries off market, having someone who's really got a boots on the ground approach to a specific neighborhood is going to be incredibly helpful for you. And the last reason that you might not necessarily think of off the top of your head why hiring a local agent makes sense is agent-to-agent relationships. The reality is this is an 80-20 business. We have about 80% of the business being conducted by 20% of the agents. And within that 20%, we all each have our specific areas of expertise and focus. So if you are hiring an agent in Greenwich Village like me, I know all of the key players in Greenwich Village for us to reach out to. So whether I'm selling your home and I'm marketing your property, I know who are the 15, 20, 25, 30 agents that are overwhelmingly likely going to bring a buyer who is qualified to purchase your home. And on the flip side, if I am representing a buyer and I want to know about some of these upcoming or off-market exclusives, I know the agents I need to reach out to, and they know me. So that relationship is a really tight one and a good one, and it's incredibly helpful for you as the client. So those are our 5 reasons why hiring the local expert makes the most sense for you as the clients. As always, we hope you enjoyed this video experience. Always find us on Facebook at Glazer Team or on Instagram, The Glazer Team. Note the differences. And we'd love to engage with you. Feel free to drop a comment, let us know your thoughts. And if you are a local expert in your marketplace, I'd love to hear what makes you so special in your local market. And leave us a comment on that as well. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.